But I was talking about legacy building, and having an heir, like Buddy Streeper was really the Streeper heir. He carried on the Streeper name in the Open North American and the Fur Rendezvous and the sprint races in Alaska. And Dallas has done that to some extent, but Dallas is pulling back. Dallas, went through a divorce. And, I think, I wonder why Tyrell or Danny is not on that team in terms of Mitch's other sons this year instead of Christian Turner coming from Australia. We can clearly say it's not a question of economics. We know the Seaveys have enough money. It's Tyrell and Danny at this point. They're older. They've evolved out of it. I think when they were younger, they would have been chomping at the bit and jumping at the chance to pilot Mitch's A team in the Iditarod. And honestly, I think both Tyrell and Danny. Tyrell had a competitive finish when he was younger, and I'm sure they could if they had put the training in, over the course of the year. Again, like I was saying, they could muster a competitive effort with those dogs. Is it a question of Mitch not thinking he's good enough? Is it a question of the CVs suffering some sort of a suspension due to conduct with veterinarians or officials out there? That was rumored. I saw that for a couple years ago when Mitch sat a race out on Facebook somewhere. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm putting that out there because I did see it stated. And you know nothing against the Seaveys because also looking at Martin. Martin, he hasn't had someone to step up and and he's in his kennel now because he didn't have a competitive musher to step in and fill his own shoes. And when he was still sort of competitive there and transitioning himself out of being competitive, his kennel just is no longer a competitive kennel. Objectively, we can say Matt Failure, but Matt Failure hasn't really executed competitively at the 1,000-mile level on Iditarod. Jeff King, he's got Otto right now, but again, Jeff and Martin, their offspring, their sons and their daughters really didn't pick up the torch, in terms of going out there with those the kennel and the dog team and the bloodlines and the genetics and the program that they built, and continuing that in terms of being someone who could jockey a team and get out there, top 5, top 3, even a victory. Now maybe Otto was just with Jeff King's dogs second in a very non-competitive Yukon Quest with only 9 teams starting and only 8 finishing because of that withdrawal. But I think it's something that we need to examine and we need to look at. In the sport, it's okay for these kennels to have someone come and be a jockey, but we want them to again, have the full preparation, the 24/7, 365, not jumping on the runners with a month out to the race. That's not fair, to the dogs, to the competitors, to the state of Alaska, and to what the history and legacy of that race was all about.